Last Tuesday, after a series of committee hearing and a very laborious work of the Committee on Finance, Mr. President, taking the 5.8 billion budget for 19 offices of the city, including the different program of the City of Davao under the Office of the City Mayor. I told Mr. President that I'm over the hump and eventually deliver result on what is due to the people of Davao as proposed by the Mayor. And along the process, Mr. President, being the Chairman of the Finance, as provided by the rules, I have to initiate, trigger, and pass to Mr. President the approval of the budget. And along the way, your humble representation serves as an errand. When you see as an errand, Mr. President, you have to traffic and facilitate concern of the different offices. Not only the Office of the City Mayor, but including the Office of 24 councilors, 2 sectoral, and the Office of the Vice Mayor, Mr. President, including the Office of the City Council. And along the way, Mr. President, we, based on the process, the committee made a committee report, and I'm very happy that the Committee on Finance, Ways and Means endorsed the same. Honorable Bumbuyan, who is the Vice Chairman, Member Honorable Villera, Alejandre, and Honorable Alejandre, Honorable Piccola. And true enough, Mr. President, in accordance with the rules, we have to debate. Based on the parliamentary rules and procedure, there should be a movement. And naturally, the movement is the sponsoring party. And it is the committee, the chair of the committee. And it was seconded, and true enough, debate occurred on matter of issues concerning public interest, which is the duty and obligation of everybody. And by process, Mr. President, the general rule in some legislative process, particularly Congress, but not so much on LGU, because we have just a small group. In Congress, the workforce is in the committee level. The department secretary will participate, and the members of the Congress will process. And eventually seldom during debate that the secretary will participate in the House of Congress to debate. But in the case of Davao City and some LGU, as a matter of practice and tradition, Mr. President, we allow and invite the participation of head of offices that in case of some query, clarification for those councillors who are not yet clarified on the committee report, they will be around and clarify issues if necessary and beneficial for the decision making of individual of us. And true enough, Mr. President, last Tuesday, all the head of offices were here. And I would like to express our gratitude to the Mayor by sending the entire 19 head of offices, including the local finance, including Atty. Time, waiting for almost 6 or 7 hours in the gallery for some clarification. And eventually, Mr. President, after a 7-hour debate, we come across to the final decision that we have to dispose, Your Honor, the budget in accordance to the rules. It should be seconded if there is no objection. If there is objection, otherwise we will go into ruling. But the budget was unanimously approved. I thought, Mr. President, everything is already okay. But the following day, I rested because I was sick for almost 5 days. I was down. And I never opened even my Facebook, neither internet or even reading the newspaper. That was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I received a first call from the field, and he said, you look at this and so and so. But as a politician for 23 years, Mr. President, it's part of all of us to be criticized and to be what we call this set aside personal satisfaction or interest. Because Mr. President, my experience tell me here, I never quarrel with the media. At the same time, I never take any personal offense to any member of the City Council for the past 23 years in this council. And I have my ups and downs in life, Mr. President. I was a floor leader for quite a long time. I was almost castigated every day. I was assigned in many committees. I was assigned in the Committee on Finance in this time of dynamics, that you have to be at the center and provide what is right and what is best, trying to facilitate everything. And I'm glad, Mr. President, that I was supported by the members of the Council since the beginning. All the budget as proposed, including calamity, many requests from the Mayor were approved. The two supplemental budget were approved. With the help of the Vice Mayor, Your Honor, when we took over the Finance Committee, we castigated the Treasurer. We, in unison with members of the Council here, who are veterans of finance, like Councilor Mahigos, Councilor Militar, who are very active on collection of taxes. Through that, Mr. President, there was an increase of taxes of the City Treasurer's Office. So generally, I've not seen any challenges because we did our best. And if my best is not enough, Your Honor, I don't take any personal to anybody because that is the only thing that I can do. But if you look at the budget of the City Council, Your Honor, I will just leave it to you to decide whether we have done our best, whether the Mayor done what is due to us. And the Mayor is very kind to us, Mr. President. Mayor Rudy Duterte, all our requests were granted in the budget. Not entirely the entire budget. You asked 10, you were given 7. I would say true enough because as father of the city, Your Honor, serving 1.5 million residents with approximately 6,000 employees with 19,000 offices. With all the concern of the Mayor, we should understand that we have to divide the pie, and if it is about money, it is always short, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, the budget passed through the hearing, but I was surprised in the newspaper, which I would just read, in fairness to my colleague. And the following day, after I saw the Facebook, but I just glanced it because I feel that some of the remarks by public were done innocently. They do not know the process of budgeting, Mr. President. Budgeting, Mr. President, has the following elements. One, the only one who can make the budget is the Mayor, which is independent and separate from legislative. I myself, all of us knows that. I cannot just go to the office of the city mayor and say, you do this, you cannot do that. Because that is against the local government law. We have to wait whatever is set by the mayor. And I remember, Your Honor, the same jury enunciated by my partner in the 2nd district, that during the time of Marcos, we are very lenient. That even in the councilors, I still remember in 1986, I was at OIC, Mr. President, under the Freedom Constitution. In this place, the old building, wooden building, kahoy pa. It is in the remain ng SWAT budget, there is a chapel. I think Crispy was the mayor then. I was the OIC. We are the one who make the budget here. But under the new local government code, the military law is very biased to the executive department. That now it is only the mayor who can make the budget. And the public does not understand this. It is not Councilor Nayanira. It is not anybody here. Second, Mr. President, the only right of the council is to reduce the budget. But as far as I'm concerned, Mr. President, practically, under that law, if you reduce the budget, you cannot also use it and insert a new budget. Because under that law, dili po ka pwede magbuta o bago. You can just reduce. But as a matter of courtesy and inter-parliamentary courtesy with the mayor, we did not do that for so many times here. Because we just leave it to the mayor. And maybe after the budget has been approved, as what I've said, I will take note, including the 1.8 billion appropriation for pick-up of a certain department to the other side, that maybe I will report to the mayor that, Mayor, we have still 4x4 vehicle of the head of offices. If an employee wanted to conduct an inspection of the project, what he should do is just to borrow from that head of office. Anyway, di man na permanente. That is my jest. For the employee to borrow from the head of officers, because some of the local finance committee even agreed with me, Mr. President, that this money can be used for other officers, because we found out during the committee hearing that even the treasurer has no mobility. You look at the record, that is why we are planning to support more the income generating officers, the treasurer, the what they call this, the terminal, the markets, if necessary, so that they can collect more taxes, because the opportunity is there, than buying the 4x4 vehicle for employees, of which they can borrow from the head of office. That is my jest. I did not say, as what is reflected here, for the councilor to borrow to the head of office, that act the vice mayor, which is true. So, Mr. President, before going in these specific issues, so we can reduce, but by practice we do not do that, because we just report it to the mayor, and maybe use it as a sitting for issue number 1 next year. The second issue, Mr. President, of this budgeting is we can delete. Anybody can delete the budget, but as Chairman of the Finance, Mr. President, I did not recommend any deletion of the budget. We can reduce, but we can also insert, we cannot insert. So that is the dilemma in budgeting. So I want to correct the impression that as far as the council and the sample representation, Your Honor, to some extent are powerless except to those right, the right to reduce, the right to delete, of which we do not want to practice in due respect to the mayor, because anything that we can relate to the mayor usually is taken consideration by the local finance committee. Now, Mr. President, let me proceed in the newspaper. I have with me some copies, Mr. President. In the newspaper, it says here, Dayang hiran to dance, no more luxury cars. I want also, Mr. President, 4x4, because I myself, Mr. President, it's very difficult to go up to Pakibato without the 4x4. In fact, I'm now studying, Mr. President, the DBM rules. The 4x4 pickup is allowed to be purchased. I have with me the rules of the DBM, Mr. President. What are the vehicles that can be bought? Or the vehicle that can be classified as luxury vehicle. 1, car sedan or hatchback with an engine displacement exceeding 22 cc with gasoline 300 with diesel and among others. Passengers van or pickup, engine displacement exceeding 2200. Diesel pickup, I just dropped by because I'm residing in Iltana, Mr. President. I dropped by the Toyota. The highest cc of Toyota 4x4 is 3000, which it's not luxury vehicle as far as DBM is concerned. So, Mr. President, 4x4 vehicle, the Vice Square, is not a luxury vehicle. And as far as I'm concerned, I myself wanted to have a 4x4 vehicle. Except, Mr. President, that the matter vehicle is not coming from our own budget. It was just given to us by the mayor.
And I know, Mr. President, that the mayor wanted to buy the 4x4 at the time, except the money is very minimal. Which is, I think, my information coming from the NFC at the time, the mayor wanted to buy 4x4 bike for us, except at the time, there's no money, it's only 20 million. Now, Mr. President, we're still looking for some options. Because I understand those in the third and the second district, Mr. President. We are studying this, hoping that we can use or we can recommend to the mayor under the annual development fund, Mr. President, that the mayor will agree at the option of the councilors, we can do something about our vehicle. Now, Mr. President, I was misquoted. This is not true. Some are true, some are not, and I want to cite. I just put some around in here. The council policy should be in consonance with the mayor. Duterte policy on proper spending. Yes, that should be the behavior of everybody, Mr. President. Purchase of luxury should be avoided in books at all costs based on the mayor's policy. Mr. President, 4x4 vehicle does not under the classification of luxury vehicles. Mr. President, for example, during the committee hearing, we discussed about the purchase of city engineers 4x4 there. The city engineer said, I cannot go to Pakibato without using the 4x4. We discussed also the vehicle of disaster. If you will not keep 4x4 to disaster, Mr. President, you cannot cross the river. So, generally, Mr. President, there was just, they just put some semblance of interpretation. And if indeed brought about by this statement as a matter of public interest, because we cannot avoid discussing vehicle because it's in the budget. Because I wanted that 1.8 million in the building permit, I think the one who requested the 1.8 million is a division of the building permit. As far as I'm concerned, why don't you borrow from your city engineer for your inspection so that we can use that budget proceedings and give it to the treasurer? That is my intention, Mr. President. But we have to review this to the mayor because he is the one who makes the budget. What are the other issues here? If you need the vehicles to go to the mountain road to do your job, then it's also a remedy. He said if the requirements of the building, this is true, this is my guess, that employees should follow their head of office. Because sometimes the 4x4 vehicle, there's just parked. Now, if we are looking for public interest, Mr. President, what we can do is just to inform them. That is the thing that I'm trying to drive out. The other one, Mr. President, what are the issues here? In fact, Mr. President, during the committee hearing, one of the local finance committee said, I don't have the 4x4 vehicle. What I did, I just borrowed the 4x4 vehicle of city planning. That is possible. Now, the other on the editorial, Mr. President, another one. What perhaps hurt the concerned councilors the maximum is the pronouncement of Diane for them to borrow the 4x4 vehicle issued to department heads parked at the city engineer's office if they want to go to the bulldogs. My God, I didn't say this. Did I say here before the talk, even in the committee hearing, even in the media, that for the councilors, if you want to borrow, you go to the other side? I didn't say this. This is wrong, Mr. President. This is not what is granted here. So, Mr. President, in fairness to my colleague, I have to bear this matter. That at the end of the day, my only intention is what is best for what you call this for the public. And I'm glad, Mr. President, that we worked hard, and what is due to us was given to us by the executive department. If ever, Mr. President, along the way, brought about by these intricacies, resulted to misinterpretation, and among others, my apology, Mr. President, to those who were caused by discomfort and among others. But, Mr. President, my conscience is clear. I didn't say that councilors should go to the other side and borrow vehicle. That is not on record. What I'm saying is for the head of office to lend or for the employees to borrow to the head of office, and if possible, please limit, if it is not necessary, to buy the expensive vehicle so that such amount can be used as savings. And we are planning, even with the LFC, to report this to the mayor that such savings can be used for supplemental budget so that our municipal personnel in Turil, in Taluco, in Buhangin, including the computerization, will be funded to collect more taxes so that they have money to spend. So, Mr. President, I will give this copy to the members of the Secretariat. I don't make any offense, Mr. President, to the media. That is the right to appreciate issues as a level of freedom of the press. And I will leave it as it is, but I have no other way, Mr. President, to clear the records for and behalf of my colleague, Mr. President, who are innocent on this matter. Thank you very much, Mr. President.